Hi there! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ria and I'm a gap year student and I share my academic journey on here. So welcome. Firstly, let me thank you for all the love and support you've shown on the last video. I am so glad all of you found it that helpful and I've replied to almost 30-40 people on my email. So thanks for engaging with it. That really means a lot to me. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the A-level math subject. If you haven't checked out the last video, please do so right now. I took statistics, mechanics and pure math, so I have experience with all three of these. So this video is divided into three parts. The first one is Pure Math 1 and Pure Math 3, which is what I took. Second section is going to be statistics and the third section is going to be mechanics. And before I jump into the sections, there is one advice I would like to give you all. If you do take your AS level exam right now and you don't get a grade up to your expectation and decide to take it one more time, I would suggest please take your A2 and AS level exam together. How this actually helps is once you study your A2 syllabus for pure math, your AS syllabus is going to be a cakewalk. It's going to become extremely easy for you, and if you give them together, you will barely have to study for your AS level exams, as you'll already be experienced with the A2 syllabus. If you want to talk to me about how you should plan your exams, I am active in replying to the comments as well as my emails. So as far as the pure math section is concerned, the main thing you have to do here is understand the core concepts. Suppose we have the binomial theorem. So we have to understand what the core idea behind this is. That is when it becomes extremely easy to apply in your papers. The syllabus is very limited in your A-level mathematics. You just have to understand how to strategize and deal with it. Now, for understanding core concepts, I suggest looking at YouTube videos. That is what helped me the most. I can even link down some channels that I used. So, even if you're really close to your exam, don't rush and go into past papers until you've completely understood your core concepts. And a way to test that is your textbook. Now, I had the Cambridge Press textbook. They had some really good exercises. So basically they had these end of chapter exercises that I found extremely helpful before moving on to past paper questions, because they're almost as difficult as past paper questions, but they still work on your understanding a bit more, and that is very helpful. Another thing is, I did not solve too many past paper questions before attempting the past paper itself, because I did not want to run out of questions from past papers, if that makes sense. So while I was studying, I was only using my textbook and the end of chapter exercise. The second tip is familiarizing yourself with the frame of question. With pure math, I'm pretty sure once you start solving your past papers, you will realize this, but the questions are highly repetitive. The frames of questions are always at least 80 to 90% the same. In fact, most of the first questions are based on binomial theorems, last are based on integration. So the pattern is going to become extremely clear to you once you start doing that. As soon as you're done with exercise questions from your textbook or other materials like that, then you should move on to complete past papers. You don't need to time yourself in the beginning, but just try to get a hang of the kind of questions they ask, because these questions, and I tell you, if you've solved 20 past papers, you should easily be able to get above a 65 out of the 75 mark paper. Once that is done, please make sure that you are well with time management, because that is also a very important thing, and that can only happen if you solve multiple past papers. In fact, I think the time that they give for pure math papers is actually a lot. So I could finish my pure math paper within an hour. So I'd have like half an hour extra just to check my paper, and that is also a very important part. Math can have calculation errors left and right, and you might think you're getting it all right, but in reality you're just losing marks, and we don't want that to happen. So recheck your paper. Let's move on to the next paper, which is your statistics paper. This paper can be slightly tricky, but in my experience, students either love this paper and are extremely good at it, or students absolutely despise it and don't want anything to do with it. I fall on the side where I love this paper. Getting a 45 out of 50 in the stats paper is way easier than you think. Let me tell you how. When you're studying for the stats paper, you might notice that a lot of concepts you already know about. Mean, median, mode, things like those you've already studied, right? So if you have less time, I suggest studying backwards. Obviously, you need to see if this works for yourself, but for me it worked. I started with the probability chapters, and going ahead from that, then I studied geometric distributions, normal distribution, and once that chunk of your syllabus is over, you're going to feel much better because that constitutes a major portion of your statistics paper. Again, YouTube videos are extremely easy to understand when it comes to normal distribution, geometric distribution. There are videos that have explained it so beautifully. If you would like the link to those, please leave a comment below. That is one part of the statistics paper. The other part has more to do with stuff like mean, median, mode, cumulative frequency, stuff you already have some sort of exposure to. So for this part, I suggest understanding the concept and then directly going for topical questions. Why this helps is, at least for me, my textbook had questions that were very easy, very basic, stuff that I'd already studied in before 10th grade. And that really doesn't help because the questions in the paper are actually quite tricky for this first half of your syllabus. Move on to topical questions because that is where you will find the juice. That is where you will find the type of questions you will be answering in an exam. Permutation and combination is one chapter I'd like to give a special mention to because you could be bad at all of math altogether and still be good at permutation combination, or you could be the best at all of math and suck at permutation combination. Permutation combination is all about your problem solving skills, your logical analysis of how to approach things and strategies. I could even make a separate video on permutation combinations because it was my absolute favorite chapter, because even with barely any exposure to math as a subject, permutation combinations is a hell lot of fun if you're a sucker for like problem solving and logical based questions. So with permutation combination, please make sure you're paying attention in class and whoever is teaching you it, because that really can define how interested you are in it. And if you actually find it interesting, congratulations, you have like 12 out of the 45 marks in your bag already. Also, one final tip for the statistics paper: in your probabilities, so normal distributions and stuff, your calculator has a lot of functions that a lot of students don't know about. So a quick search on YouTube about how to do normal distribution on a calculator can really give you an edge. I know normal distribution has a lot of steps and stuff. If you've gone through it, there's a lot of scope for error. Now obviously you cannot put your question in the calculator and write down your answer, because then you won't get the steps for the marks. But if you know how to use your calculator properly, you can already get the answer, and then as you go by the steps, you should be able to match your manual answer to your calculated answer, and that would give you confidence in your own answer, and you'll also know if your answer is wrong or not. So that's one tip. Please make sure you know how to use your calculator to its fullest potential. Now let's move on to mechanics. I took physics and I love physics. It's my favorite subject. I'm even considering majoring in it. Mechanics is, if your kinematics are good, mechanics should be a cakewalk. Yes, the first time you're solving a past paper, you will find it way more difficult than your physics AS level kinematics, but the frame of the question with mechanics is always going to be the same. And trust me when I say this, if you solve 20 mechanics papers, there is no question you will not be able to do. And I say that with so much confidence because that is exactly what I did. I haven't even opened my mechanics textbook. I just went straight for the past papers, understanding each question as I go. And yes, I did refer to the MS quite a bit, but that happens in the start, and then you start getting the hang of the way they want you to answer questions, and that is very repetitive. I solved 15 past papers for mechanics, and that was all I did. I did not open a textbook. I did not attend any mechanics classes. All I did was past papers. Now with that, I do acknowledge that I love physics and have always studied physics with enthusiasm. So that was also interesting and easier for me. But I assume that most of the people who do take mechanics already have studied physics. If that doesn't sound like you, that's all right. Mechanics, the concepts are very basic. It's more about how you use those concepts to solve. Again, it is totally application based. The only solution to the paper of mechanics is solve, solve and solve. Honestly, with the mechanics paper, I don't have too much to say. This one is pure practice, pure practice. You know, even if you go straight in without conceptually studying, what happens is as you read the answer, the MS, you start understanding the concept, because the solving itself is the concept. So even if you have zero conceptual experience, you can open a question paper in an MS and try to match, and that is also another way you could learn, which is what I did. But yeah, it is better if you have some kind of exposure to the concepts that are there and then try to solve yourself. Either ways, by the time you would have solved 5 to 6 papers, no matter if you studied from the textbook or not, you should be able to connect the dots with the mechanics paper. So yes, that was my exam-wise breakdown for the A-level mathematics syllabus. For more general tips like time management and stuff like that, I've talked about it in my previous video and I don't want to make this one too long. Since I've already said it there, please go and watch the ending bit of that. I talk about like last moment tips. Even if you don't take physics, that can be applicable for other subjects. So yeah. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Engaging with the video makes YouTube understand that this is good content and should be promoted to more people. So help me out like that. Do you plan to apply abroad? And are you confused about what exams to take, what extracurriculars to build? Don't worry, I got you. Click on this playlist here and it has everything you need to know.